All right, all right. We're gonna give everyone an opportunity to get up in here for another show, another podcast show with the ladies podcast show. Just welcoming you here for another Sunday. Um, I am here every other Sunday, just conversation with Deborah. And if you can pay attention to the ticker at the top, it just gives you our lineup throughout the week. As it says, Velma, she is back. And I know you guys have been missing Velma. We have been missing Velma. She was bringing some much needed conversation to the ladies' podcast show. Talking about domestic violence, sexual abuse, all those things that are supposed. People pretty much tell you to to be on the hush. Keep it to yourself. It's a family secret. Don't let anybody know the shame of it all. And Velma has been doing awesome job an awesome job of bringing those conversations to the forefront. They are very much needed. And it helps the victim to face what has happened to them, and it encourages other victims, or as not, and she does not like to say victims, so forgive me, survivors. I'm going to say survivors, and that's what she likes to say, survivors. It gives them the courage to bring forth their story as well. So Velma will be back with us tomorrow. Resilient Chicks, she will be back with us tomorrow. She's been very busy putting together her brunch that is coming up. I believe it's November 6th. If I'm incorrect or you guys are in here, you have the correct date for me, please let me know. Drop it in the chat because I don't want to miss that opportunity to even spread the word and even further about the brunch that is coming up. But I believe it's November 6th or 8th, but I'll find and I'll drop it in there later if you guys don't know what that particular, if you don't have it handy. But like I said, Velma will be back with us on Monday, and she actually has three awesome shows lined up for you guys back to back. So she'll be here Monday, the following Monday, and the following Monday after that. And actually, she may be even, she was on every other Monday timeline, but I think she's going to be back full force every Monday. But that is way to be seen. I'm just excited that she will be back here with us. And I am here. Well, Felisa, she is here every Tuesday. You don't want to miss any conversations with Felisa Janae. Awesome lady, wonderful personality, beautiful personality, always bringing some interesting hot topics to the show. I love it. I love it. So she will be here to be with us Tuesday. Felisa and myself, we will be here Wednesday, which we're here every other Wednesday. I mean, every Wednesday. And we pretty much just talk about anything under the sun, anything that impacts you on a day-to-day life. We want to just bring real conversations. You know what I mean? Real topics, things that you probably wouldn't necessarily, I don't know, go to confession about. I mean, you know what I mean? That conversation that you may just have with, special people in your life. But we're here to talk about those things, whether you're shy to do it or you just, got the courage to do it or not. We want to provide that platform. And then I am here every other Sunday, as I am here tonight, just having conversation, and it's pretty much on the same level of interest. Those things that are impactful. People looking for real, authentic conversations. That what I hope to bring onto the Ladies Podcast Show. And without further delay, we are talking about you ain't doing nothing new. I'm sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry to break it to you, ladies and gents. You ain't doing nothing new. If you think you bringing something new that ain't never been experienced before, guess what? You ain't doing nothing new, because as the word tells us, there is nothing new under the sun. And so when I thought about this topic, when I thought about this conversation, I was like, okay, what angle do I want to go with it? I can go anywhere from technological advances, great civilizations that were once at the top, and those things that caused those civilizations to fall, and how we're seeing you can just go back in history and over time and see how things have repeated themselves. So I am going to go with it, that angle. But before I do so, I want to add a little bit more to it. Maybe shake the questions up a little bit as well. And with that being said, you ain't doing nothing new. How many of you And I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand. I'll raise this hand and this hand. How many of you grew up saying, I don't want to be nothing like my mama. I don't want to be nothing like my daddy. And, you know, you may have gotten, got out there and started dating. And then, you may have had your mom or your aunt say, you know, you better not, you may not want to do that. He doesn't seem like the right guy for you. And you probably like, psh, you ain't talking about nothing. I'm in love. He's the right one. I know it. I feel it. He's gonna be different with me, even though he was, X, Y, and Z with her, or or he with him, or however the relationship dynamics go. He's gonna be different with me. So, like I said, by show of hands, how many of you have just dismissed any advice from your mom, your dad? It could be your teachers, your grandparents, because you just simply think you know something different. You know how to maneuver this life a little bit, differently than what they did. So their outcome is not going to be my outcome. I know I have, especially when it came to dating or choosing the fella of my life. I know I ignored my sister, who is, my older sister, who, it was experienced, by the time I started dating, saying, that ain't the one for you. You deserve, he's going to do this, he used to do that. And I'm like, well, I'm different. I'm Deborah, I bring something different to the table. I can get him to act a little bit, act differently when it comes towards me. Well, I'm here to tell you, having done lived a little while now, having done dated, somewhat, and married and all that good stuff, I bet you, I guarantee, I wish I would have listened to my sister. I wish I would have listened to my auntie. But I just felt like, at the time, I'm young, I'm youthful, I know what I'm doing, yada, yada, yada. But hindsight, is like they were right. And I could have saved myself some heartache. I could have took a shortcut maybe, because exactly what they told me was going to happen, it happened. But I was determined. I was determined to not let it be so. And so when I say there is nothing, you ain't doing nothing new, and I say that as it relates to relationships, the dynamic of relationships, human nature in general. Fundamental of the human nature is what it is. It does not change, regardless who you are, there may be some different aspects about you. I mean, when it comes to your personality, when it comes to your characteristics, when it comes to how you maneuver, but the fundamentals of relationships remain the same. Now, you may say, what do you mean, Deborah? It's just that it can be a tangled web. Let's say, all right, as an example, let's say you're in a relationship with a guy and who had been in a relationship with another girl, or your relationship, with him and he was in a relationship with another guy, or however the dynamics go when it comes to relationship. And that person may have been in a relationship with the previous person like 3 years or whatever. And nine times out of 10, when you start dating a new person, 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you some details or some information about what it was like with that previous person, with that other person, right? They're going to tell you something you thinking in your mind, oh, well, I would have never done that. Because if she would have done it like this, or he would have done it like that, then their relationship would have lasted. Well, I'm going to give a little bit of perspective on that. I 9 times out of 10, that person fundamentally has remained the same. He has remained the same. He is that same person or individual that he was in the previous relationship. The only difference is you. Now, granted, let's say that you and this person do move on to have a healthy relationship. It may even end up in marriage. But does that mean that person or the other individual that they were with did something wrong? I don't think so. This is what I think. And if you've been on my shows on Sundays, you already know I believe in numerology. I believe in understanding who we are as a person, as an individual, understanding your personality, understand what makes you you. So if you've been on my show, you know I 100% believe in that. And so I believe that people are either compatible with each other or they're not. So perhaps the person in the previous relationship, they were just not that compatible. Meaning, if you're in a relationship with someone that you're not that compatible with, you're likely to have more arguments. You're likely to have more disagreements. You're likely to have more frustrations. You're likely to have, more time out. You may just have more unpleasant moments in your relationship than not, which ultimately lead you guys to a breakup. But if you're compatible, and what that means, when you're compatible, you just get each other more so than someone that you're not compatible with. You don't have to, feel the frustration of always trying to explain yourself, explain why you do things a certain way, explain why you say things a certain way, explain why you express love the way you express love. When you're with someone compatible, they just get you. They understand your love language, right? They understand that if you're just off one day, you want to just isolate one day and not be bothered, they understand that, okay, not to take it personally and think it's something to do with them. They just, okay, I understand, he's, he or she is tapped out. They need some time to themselves. And so just like me, because, you're similar. When you're with someone who's compatible, you guys are similar. You have a lot of similarities. And it just makes the relationship easier. It makes the relationship healthier. And where we get into trouble is, you guys excuse me, allergies, and sometimes it bothers my nose. What it means is, your interactions are going to be more pleasant. It's just not difficult. It's just easy as Sunday morning. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have some issues. It could be a disagreement on what you want to go to the movies and watch. It could be a disagreement whether you want to go out one weekend or just stay in together. I'm talking about like that surface stuff that just really is not the things that really just shake and move a relationship that or cause a relationship to break up. I'm talking about those things to where you as a person, your character, your personality is at direct conflict with who you're in relationship with. Do you hear what I'm saying? When you're in a relationship with someone that you're not compatible with and you're trying to force it, just like trying to force a square into a circle, it does not work. It does not fit. But I get it. I get it. When you in this, is new, you want to try it out, you want to give it a go. Then that one thing leads to another, and your emotions start to get involved, and you want this thing to work. You've invested now, it's 2-3 years. You don't want to have to start over with someone new. You don't want to have to start over with someone new. And so you're going to continue to try to force that square into that hole. You're going to try to shave away some edges just to try to get it to fit. And in shaving away those edges, you're trying to mold that person into who you want them to be. You're trying to change their personality. You're trying to change the very fabric of who they are. And they may allow it to go on for a certain period of time. They may let it go on for a little while, but it's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to start being painful. It's going to start being frustrating. It's going to start being agitating because that person is trying to shave away your personality to mold and carve you into someone that you're not. And hence there lies the problem. There lies the problem. So that's why for me, numerology is so important. Forget the naysayers. I get so tired of people, in the religious sector. Oh, that is of the devil. God had nothing to do with that. You just don't need to dabble in that and just go to God and he'll tell you who you are. But why? Well, there are tools here that is none evil, doesn't cause harm to anyone. You're just getting to know who you are. And you're trying to save yourself some time, take some shortcuts perhaps. As I mentioned, if you would just listen to mama, grandma, auntie, well, 9 times out of 10, we ain't doing that. Y'all already know we ain't doing that. We got all the answers. When you're young like that, in your teens and in your 20s, you look at us like you look at them. I'm gonna say us now because I got, a daughter that's in her 20s and got teenage kids 20, ranging from 20s and teens. And they look at me the same way that I looked at my auntie, my grandmother, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. I got this. That's how y'all did it back in the day. Things done changed. Where I am here to tell you, right here, as the topic says, you ain't doing nothing new. You ain't doing nothing new when it comes to relationships because the fundamentals of relationships remain the same. Whether it's, a heterosexual relationship or a homosexual relationship, if that's what they call it. If not, if there's a different word, I don't keep up with it. Forgive me. But you get what I'm saying. If you're in a relationship, the fundamentals of a relationship remains the same. You got two individuals with two distinct personalities and characteristics that are trying to come together and act in unison, trying to build a life together, trying to grow, trying to bond. And if you happen to end up with someone that you're not compatible with, because I'm sorry, we ain't walking around with words tattooed all on our faces, our foreheads, our backs, and saying, I like to sleep in, I like to take naps throughout the day. I like to read books, or I like to watch some scary movies. I like to go to church. I like to have Sunday dinners. I do not like to eat I don't like seafood. The various things that make us who we are. We're not walking around there tattooed on our faces, our foreheads, with signs. You don't find those things out with an individual until you do what? Get into a relationship. You won't find those things out until you get into a relationship. And so 9 times out of 10, like I said, when you get in a relationship with someone that is not compatible with you, someone who's incompatible, and those core fundamental things that make a relationship work, understanding, communication, those sort of things just break apart. They fizzle, they die. In some cases, they never grow, they never build in a relationship, and you guys end up going your separate ways. So as I relate to myself, starting out in the dating world, there are some things about the person, about the fella that was just I didn't need a book. I didn't need numerology. I didn't need things tattooed on his face or forehead or whatever. I should have just known better. But like I said, oh, that was his past. He's trying to do better. He wants to change his life. I'm the person to do it. Yada, 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 yada. Now, granted, it was a long-term relationship, but it was a long-term relationship that came with agitation, frustration, humiliation, deceit, all those things in between. And yes, we ultimately end up going our separate ways. Now, if I would have listened to my auntie, because she was like, girl, you think that's the best thing since bread and butter. But I am here to tell you, once you get out there and experience something else, sure, right. But if I would just listen, I would have saved myself, some time. But because I didn't, and then, I also believe things happen as they should, but as a civilization, as we try to learn, grow, and evolve from things in our past. That's all I'm saying. When I'm saying there is you ain't doing nothing new. In other words, there's nothing new under the sun. And playing into this topic of relationships, You can have conversations with, maybe your grandmother, your aunt, if you got older siblings, and have them to share some things about their relationships, not just the successful one or ones, even, but the unsuccessful ones too. And maybe you can adjust how you are doing things. Maybe it'll give some revelations to you that maybe it can even unveil a toxic pattern that you may not be aware of. Saying, why do I keep choosing the same person over and over? Over and over, I keep choosing the same person, excuse me. How is it possible? These are distinctly different in appearance individuals that I'm choosing. How is it that my relationships with these individuals are following the same pattern? How is that happening to me? How? Another podcast that I would like to go into. I can't go into it tonight because that'll take me off topic too much. But if you've been on the podcast show with me on Sundays, I'm a big person about when it comes to energy. If your energy attracts the people that you have in your life, if you're vibrating low, and especially when you're out there in the dating world or whatever, you vibrating low, you just came out of a fresh breakup, but you don't want to take no time for yourself. You want to get back out there like Muhammad Ali. You don't took some punches, but you ain't falling. You ain't falling down. You're gonna keep standing. You want to get back out there in the rain. But guess what? This ain't boxing. This ain't boxing. This is your mental health. In some cases, it could be your physical health. We're talking about domestic violence. This is your heart, your spirit, your peace. This ain't no boxing ring. This is relationship is real life, and it can be so fragile. So if you're finding yourself in a pattern or you choosing the same type person over and over and over again, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing is it something within yourself? Is your energy off? And that's as far as I'm going to take that piece. Because like I said, it's going to take me too off topic. Because I'll have to go even deeper about energy and explain where energy is. But you get what I'm saying. You attract your energy attracts those people to you. If you examine the type of people that you have in your life, be it friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, whoever the case may be, you got to ask yourself, where's your energy? Where's your energy? But I'm going to take a pause because I kind of shot out the fence with this one real heavy. I am going to take a pause and see if we got some comments here. Once again, thank you for joining the Ladies Podcast Show. You are on with Just Conversations, Deborah Walter. I am here every other Sunday. And if you look at the ticker above, it gives you our lineup for the week. Please be sure to join us starting tomorrow. All right, we have Kiki. I agree with you, Deborah. Absolutely. I know I kept running on and on with that, Kiki, but absolutely. And I kind of, like I stated at the beginning of the podcast, I want to try to shift it a little bit. I want to talk about, and I'm going to get back into the focus of how has things changed. There's nothing new under the sun. How have things remained the same from civilization? Talking about fashion. And I, took a bit of time just then talking about relationships altogether. Hello, Irvin. Welcome. Hello, Miss Felisa. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Hello, Magic Smith. And just to mention also, if you guys ever want to join the Ladies Podcast Show as a guest, if you're too shy, you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. You can join. You can disable your camera, and you can just leave your microphone, and we can just, hear your beautiful voice. But if you got something you want to say, look, you want to go full throttle. Hey, here I am on the screen. Go ahead. You can do camera, and you can do mic as well. And just let me know. I mean, we have our show has grown, and we are so grateful and thankful for that. And we thank you guys for those who have been with us since the beginning. We thank you. Thank you for joining the show tonight. All right. I'm going to start off with a question. What do you think is the relationship between past ideas and modern innovations? Well, you know what? since I start out so heavily with relationships, and this is a little bit different with saying you're not doing anything new. So let me roll it back. So in regards to relationships, we didn't have social media platforms. We didn't have the dating apps. We didn't have the relation. We may have had relationship coaches, but I don't. I'm not certain. So I'm not going to speak on it. But you got these dating apps where you can put in your information, your likes and your dislikes. Like I was just saying, we're not walking around with these words tattooed all over us about what we like or dislike. But you can go into those dating apps. I don't know. I may have been, I don't know, fresh out of college when I may have joined one, but it does. You can go in there and talk about what you like and you dislike and all that stuff, and give a little bit more personal information, if you will. And it's algorithms or whatever will match you with people that it thinks is your best fit. So I think that has changed, but like I said, fundamentally, when it comes to relationship, that has not changed. The need for communication, understanding, what your beliefs are, what from a religious standpoint, do you want kids or not? Those fundamental things remain the same. It's just the means to how you get to that information that has propelled us in modern societies. Like I said, with the dating apps, you have outside the dating apps, like I said, these social media platforms. You got YouTube. You can direct message people. I think TikTok and Facebook. It's just so many avenues where you can meet people. But at the end of the day, at a fundamental level, you ain't doing nothing new when it comes to dating. Because once you done got systems from technology, these social media platforms, these dating apps, you still got, if it gets that far, you're still gonna have to be one-on-one with that person. And how you gel together matters. Communication, having an open mind, likes and dislikes. You guys give me just a minute because I'm gonna need some power. Give me just a minute. Don't want it my laptop to go dead on y'all. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry for that pause. But that's how I think relationships between past ideas and modern innovations have changed. Someone realized that, wow, I'm kind of limited to who I can date because I'm in this neck of the woods. I don't know who's out there, maybe met someone when you going, high school or college, but what if you want to expand? Technology has made it the world your open oyster, so to speak, and you can meet people. But fundamentally, it has remained the same. Two, let me pop it up here on the screen right quick. Can you give examples of current trends that mirror those from history? I got one. I think this is a great time to pivot into fashion. You ain't doing nothing new. Look, I got on my denim shirt today, this evening. Denim has been out there for a very long time. The Cowboys wore denim, Levi Strauss, if I may give an example. But I'm going to pull up my screen here. I just want to show you guys something. When I'm saying you ain't doing nothing new, and you're not. Because I know y'all going to see that these things have come back into fashion. Do y'all see the bell bottoms? Do you see the bell bottoms? They have been around for a very long time. The flare legs, no matter how they done, fashion them up, but the design has remained the same, and they're back on the scene today. Today, you ain't doing nothing new. Look at this one right here. You probably done threw some flowers on there, but this is like a design from the 70s or whatever. But however you patch it up, even today, these are back on the scene and they're, becoming very popular again. So in the world of fashion, like I said, you ain't doing nothing new. All right. It's all right. I'm done sharing that. But I did bring something to the scene, to the show. Guess what I got? This is I'm gonna say new school Kango. I guess that's what they call them. They were Kangos back in the day. Look at that. They back out on the scene. Like I said, regardless of how you patch it up with the flowers or whatever, they've been out there before. Ain't nothing new. You ain't doing nothing new when it comes to fashion. All right. Uh, well, to change the topic a little bit, when it comes to you ain't doing nothing new. Let's talk about civilizations. And then I'm going to relate that to what is going on in our world today. If you guys may recall, Rome, the great Roman Empire, they were huge. They had conquered so much territory. I mean, their coffers were huge. And they had, got to a point to where they had took on so much land, and the bureaucracy was so thick, it became too impossible. I mean, their hands were everywhere. It was too impossible to govern it all, to manage it all. And so it kind of, weakened their position, so to speak, because like I said, it has made things unstable. And so when you look at today, and these are not my opinions, these are just, well, it's my opinion, but it's based on information that I may have seen out there circulating, that some people equate or relate to the United States as being modern day Rome. We this big, huge superpower. Our hands are just about everywhere, just have an imprint just about in every country. And it talked about how, how the signs of Rome's crumble began, finances, the economy was failing. Inflation was through the roof. There was a lack of trust in their government and their political figures. And I'm going to have to be honest, understanding some of the symptoms of some of the things that took place that ultimately led to the fall of Rome. I got to be honest, we are seeing a lot of that here in the United States. Like I said, we're a superpower. We got our imprint just about everywhere. And what have we been dealing with our economy? Inflation through the roof. Everything's so expensive. There's been, distrust in our political system. There's been distrust, with police. There's been distrust with the education system. There's distrust with the medical system. So one begs the question, are we modern day Rome? Are we modern day Rome? And so, like I said, I am of the opinion that a lot of similarities are out there to compare us as Rome. But do that mean that we're going to fall and crumble as Rome did? Maybe not. Because what history has taught us, as my topic says, you ain't doing nothing new. I think life is very cyclical. On a fundamental level, it is very cyclical. I do. What goes around comes around, in other words. And I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard that impression. What goes around comes around. And I believe that. I really do. I believe that we're here to learn certain lessons. And as a civilization and as an individual, we are here to learn certain lessons. And if we do not learn those lessons, we're gonna go on repeat. Those lessons are gonna come back around until you master it, until you pass the test, so to speak. And as a civilization, humankind, there are various tests that we're being tested, not just on an individual level, but as a civilization as a whole. How to treat your fellow man, how to look out for your elderly. I mean, whatever, anything under the sun. I mean, there's a test, in my opinion. And as a civilization, let's say we are modern day Rome. And here we are again, some of those same factors that may be causing some of those same symptoms that Rome experienced. You must ask yourself, why are we? What led us here? And that's where history helps. Just like I was explaining about giving examples about relationships, listening to your mom, your grandmother, sister, anyone who has been there and done that. To me, the same applies everyday living as a civilization, as humankind. What have our ancestors done in the past that we could have learned from, to where we could avoid the unpleasant things that we may be experiencing today? And what that leads me to believe, we have not learned our lesson as a civilization. That's what I'm saying when I say you ain't doing nothing new. You're not. And so we're going to go on to another question, taking a pause. If you have just joined Just Conversations with Deborah, we're talking about you ain't doing nothing new. You ain't doing nothing new. Life is cyclical. The universe is cyclical. Things are going to happen again, again, again until we get it, right. And so I started out talking about relationships, talked about, ancient Rome, in comparison to what I've seen and researched when it comes to the United States. And I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about parenting. I think it is necessary. But if you have not joined, please, 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 please be sure to do so. I always seem to forget to say that. Please be sure to like and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. Question number 3. How do you define originality in a world where so much has been inspired by the past? That's tough. I'm going to be honest. I just showed you the bell bottoms. The bell bottoms have been around for a very, very long time. I'm a 70s baby. I recall my mom wearing stack shoes, bell bottoms, and some form of variation of the stack shoes. They're out there. I think I've seen like the platform sandals. There you go. So how can you pinpoint some originality when so much is being repeated? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, even with the cell phones, like, okay, technology, a lot is new and different with technology, but at a fundamental level, I believe there's just some of these technologies existed before in the past. If you ever heard about, I forget the ancient civilization, it'll come to me, but they were known for the amount of technology that they had. They were known for it. And so I believe that technology, those technological advances back then were saved on some level, and then we just built from it. That's what I think. I think we just built from it. And if we're this huge super consciousness, where there's just so many, past experiences from past souls that have come here and done that, I think it exists out there in the ether on a super conscious level. And when people say, get these thoughts and ideas, I think they're just download from spirit. That's what I think. That's Deborah's opinion. You may, tend to disagree with me, and that is fine. We are all about conversation and feedback here. So please share your thoughts with me. Drop some comments. What do you think? Am I wrong about my topic, the subject? You ain't doing nothing new? Because I'm finding it very difficult to pinpoint anything that is original. Like I said, even the cell phone, I think at a fundamental level, the technology has existed before. I think it's existed before. Let's see, television. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, like the hoverboards. I think I may have seen something on the internet that those existed way back then. And I know you got to be careful because so many things can be fabricated on the internet, especially with CGI and all that stuff. I get it. But like I said, on the fundamental level, I don't think there's anything new under the sun. Even the Bible tells you that there's nothing new under the sun. All right, so I'm going to take a little pivot here, and I'm going to talk about parenting. I would like to talk about parenting. How many of you feel like your parents was, like I was saying, they didn't know anything what they talking about relationship. You know what you're talking about. That was back in your time. It's different for us. But what about parenting? How many of you have said, if I have kids, I'm going to do it differently than what my parents did? I ain't going to do that. I'm going to let my child do X, Y, Z. I ain't going to be so strict. I ain't going to be so stern. I'm going to let them, speak their mind, share their opinion. And I don't want to stifle their creativity. If they want to, shave half of their head off, I'm going to let it do it because my parents didn't let me do it. How many of you swore that when you have kids, you're going to do differently than what your parents did? I did. But if you guys know, I was primarily raised by my grandmother, starting at the age of 12. I think I was 13 when we moved in with my grandmother. And oh, we stayed in church. If there was revival, you best believe that we was on that church van going to the every night of the revival. It didn't matter if we had school. It didn't matter if we got home at 10, 11 o'clock that night. We had to get up and go to school. We were not going to miss a Sunday. We were not going to miss vocational Bible school. We were there. We were there. We were there. We were there. So you can just imagine what I said when I got out the house or even had kids. I said I was gonna, well, don't get me wrong. I didn't just, just straight out the door. I didn't stop going to church. I didn't do that. I didn't stop believing in the Creator. I did not do that. But I did not, I scaled back. I didn't go to church every Sunday, maybe every other Sunday. I definitely didn't go to Bible study on Wednesdays. Revivals was that was a thing of the past for me. And then as time passed, as time went on, I said, you know what? So much of my relationship with God was dictated by my grandmother. I want to get to know my Creator on an organic level. Nobody but me and the Creator conversing, me going straight to the Creator and asking for God, just like a reset for me in my relationship with the Creator. That's what I wanted. That's what I endeavored to do. And that's what I did. But don't get me wrong, that came with some struggles. That came with me doubting myself, questioning if I was on the right path, questioning if I was just being led astray by some demonic force or whatever. But I had to take a pause and say, Deborah, what you're doing, it doesn't have anything to do with evil or the devil or anything like that. You're simply seeking an organic relationship with your Creator without anyone dictating to you what the Creator is, what the Creator can and cannot do. No one crafting and shaping your own belief system when it comes to your Creator, because it's a personal relationship. I've always said that. I've always said this on this podcast. Your relationship with the Creator is very personal. And so on the spiritual side, I evolved. I eventually allowed myself to evolve, and my relationship with Creator has been more richer for it, to where can't nobody shake me in what I believe, because I done traveled that path, baby. I done climbed those mountains. I done laid in them valleys. Ain't nobody finna shake me in that. But I'm not sharing my story to get you to start questioning your relationship and how you go about building it. It's just that even when it comes to religion, there's nothing new under the sun. Everyone looking, there's nothing new under the sun. You ain't doing anything new. Everyone looking for something outside of themselves, a higher power to lead and guide them. They're looking for a comforter. They're looking for a confidant. And instead of going within, they go without. They go to church, right? They look to a pastor. They look to a leader. They look to a spiritual advisor. They go outside of themselves looking for their guidance. And for some reason, they feel like that preacher, that pastor, whoever has a secret passage to the Creator. They got this secret code that only they know that they can go to the Creator on your behalf. That is not so. That is not so. You got the same access that they do. And you just got to stop being afraid to entrust in that and step out on that. But only if you're ready. Like I said, I went climbed some mountains. I laid in some valleys to get to where I am. And so that can be a tough place for some people. So I understand it. If you still need that in-between person, that's you. And ain't nothing wrong with that. All right. So on a fundamental level, when we're talking about parenting, how I wish I would have listened more, taken more notes, paid more attention to those who had done it before me. Now, you know how people say, well, there's no guidebook, there's no how to on how to raise kids. I get that. But on a fundamental level, you ain't doing nothing new. On a fundamental level, parenting remains the same. And how does it remain the same? Every parent seeks to provide unconditional love and emotional support, affection to their children. I said every parent seeks to do that. If you are a parent, a mother or father in a healthy state mentally, I'm going to even say spiritually, and financially, so on and so forth. If you are a full mind and body and you look to provide love and affection, unconditional love to your children. Nothing new under the sun about that. From civilization to civilization, from generation to generation, that remains the same. We all look to do that. Now, how we express it, as I was saying, we are all different personality-wise, characteristic-wise. Even your children, from your firstborn to your secondborn to your third, fourth, fifth, however many kids you got, their personalities are different. And I don't believe in one size fit all when it comes to parenting. I don't. Like I say, taking tips from those who've done it before you, yes. But it doesn't mean that this is the guy that I'm going to follow, I'm going to apply to every child that I have. No, that's where you fall. That's, in my opinion, that's where you falter, because I have come to learn, once again, like I said, numerology has become my best friend. Because like I said, it helped me to better understand this personality called Deborah. And it also helps you to understand the children that you birth, because their personality, what drives them, what motivates them, what saddens them, what makes them afraid, how they view the world, even though it is molded and cultivated by their parents, but how it's different from child to child. So if that is the case, then how can you apply the same guidebooks or steps to each child? You may have, as an example, you may have one child that is, their personalities, they're very secure in who they are as an individual. There are kids that are born like that. You can see it, and when they small and they start walking as tall as you can see, they just got this persona about them. They're confident in who they are. They don't need mommy googling all over them and kisses. Of course, children need love. I'm not saying don't love on your kids. I'm not saying it, but you may have one that needs it way more than the other. They need to be told that they're loved. They need to be told that everything is going to be all right. You're safe with me. You're safe with me. We have that in our own children. Their personalities are very distinct and very different. But tonight's topic is you ain't doing nothing new. On a fundamental level, parenting, the fundamentals of parenting remains the same. And I said love and affection is one, guidance and discipline is one, because as parents, you always have, as parents, it's a crucial role that we teach our children, right? We teach them right from wrong, establishing boundaries, let them know that, you can't do that. No. Uncle Sam done came over and, he smoked cigarettes, and even though you may make him go outside on the back patio where the kids play at so he could puff his cigarette, he done left a butt in the ashtray. Now he been gone for about an hour or so, and then you let the kids go out there and play on the back patio, and then you happen to go out there, and here come little Suella about to put the cigarette butt in her mouth. No. That's bad for you. Don't do that. Boundaries, discipline, teaching them, guiding them. That's a fundamental principle when it comes to parenting. And how you go about doing it, as I said before, I think it needs to be customized based on the need of your child. You may have one child that soon as you start yelling at them, if you're a yeller as a parent, and Lord behold, I hope you ain't one that curse your kids out. That's something I've always like. No. But if you're one of them, I told you, never coming calmly and tactfully. You got certain kids that they're gonna shut all the way down. They ain't listening to nothing you got to say. When I say they're gonna shut all the way down, and you got this other kid just in there, I hear you. Okay. All right, mama. But you got the other that's gonna shut all the way down, ain't gonna give you no type of acknowledgement, none whatsoever. Because you done You done made them go on the crawl forward and go on the inside. And for those type of kids, you be like, well, you know what? All right, using their grades as an example. Let's say social studies. They had a B one semester, then they came home, on the progress report, they got a D. You don't go in just hammering at the kid. Oh, you ain't gonna go out there until you get the D. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's talk about it. What happened? What happened, Michael? You did so good first semester. You had a B. Is there something going on that I don't know about? Do you need some help? You got this D. We can work on it. We can get you a tutor. You see what I'm saying? The difference? Do you see the difference? Where your other child, that's going in on them, they're probably what they need. They'll probably get it together. But what I'm saying is, at the bottom line is, parent at a fundamental level, parenting remains the same. How you go about parenting, it should not be a one size fit all for your children. And another example is education, knowledge, health and safety. You want to maintain all those things when it comes to parents, because you want your child to be a healthy, thriving individual that you can put out into society and help be productive, be a productive citizen. That's all I'm saying. So you ain't doing nothing new when it comes to parenting. Even though you did not like the way your parents parented you, at the bottom of all that, however they parented you, they want to make sure that you were loved. You know, they want to make sure you had the proper guidance. They want to make sure you got your education. And once again, before you run off and say, Deborah knows what you're talking about. I know some parents out there, they don't care about their kids. They don't study about showing them love. I'm saying, if you're a parent that is healthy mentally, emotionally, as a whole, you seek to provide those things for your children. That's all I'm saying. All right, I want to take a pause and get to some questions. Okay, into the Deep End podcast. Oh, well, welcome into the Deep End podcast. Welcome to the Ladies Podcast Show. And I do believe you are new. At least I've never seen you on one of our shows. Welcome. And look at you done dropped into the chat. Nothing is new under the sun. Ecclesiastes. I think that's the book. Into the Deep End Podcast Show. If you know the scripture that is in, please drop it in the chat for me. All right, Into the Deep said, all right, let's see what you said. What did you say? We're going to put it up here on the screen. I didn't go to church when I was younger. I got baptized in 2012. Okay, I'm following. Some children you're connected to differently. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Into the Deep End Podcast Show before I read the rest of your statement. Whether you believe in numerology or not, I don't know if you was on here when I said that I do believe in numerology. Numerology, breaking down your birthday, it lays out details to how you are as a person, your personality, your characteristics, what motivates you, what demotivates you. And it has been so spot on for me. It has been so spot on for my children. It has been so spot on for my spouse. And just having that, being armed with that knowledge, it has helped me to be a better parent. It has helped me to be a better wife, because it helps me to understand who they are. It is not a one size fit all. And so when you say some children you're connected to differently, absolutely. I talked about at the beginning, you ain't doing nothing new when it comes to relationships. And I talked about how important it is, the difference between being in a relationship with someone who is compatible versus someone who's incompatible. And it's the same thing with your children. Now, the thing is, when you got a child that is just, how you have some of those parents, I just can't get, JJ to come around and to see, we're always clashing, butting heads. I've heard parents say that about certain, some of their children or one of their children or whatever. They're so different than the other one because you may not be compatible, or as Into the Deep End podcast, so you may not be able to connect because y'all have some differences, probably more differences than similarities. It's important for you to understand who your child is so you can navigate, their personality to where you guys are able to better mesh. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to have an open mind. You're going to have an open mind, because it's going to cause you to look at yourself a little deeper as well. So I absolutely believe you on that. Then let's say your firstborn versus your last. I'm going to be absolutely so different. One meek and mild, one so strong-minded and independent, and there is no way you're gonna say one size fit all the parent when it comes to those two very distinct personalities. Absolutely not. All right, that is absolutely true. Misha Murray said that is true. Oh, okay. Ecclesiastes 1:9. If y'all don't mind, I'm gonna take a little pause so I can pull it up because I do want to read that whole scripture because that is the basis of this podcast show tonight. Okay. Ecclesiastes 1:9. Let's see what it say. Now you know they got these new age Bibles. Now this first thing that come up, what has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing. Let me stop. There is nothing new under the sun. Okay, the last sentence said it. There is nothing new under the sun. But I get what it's saying. What has been is what will be. Cyclical. Life is cyclical. Life is cyclical, cyclical. And what has been done is what will be done. Absolutely. Like I said, you may have some customizations there, here and there, like I was showing with the bell bottoms with fashion, but at a fundamental level, all things remain the same. Where's the originality? And maybe there isn't to be any because, as I said, and as I believe, as a civilization, we're here to grow and learn. And if we're not getting the lessons, then we're going to, there are even some thought minds out there that believe that we get to a certain point in evolution. We get to a certain point in time to where if we don't, evolve enough, because everything is about love, loving yourself, loving your neighbor, do unto others as you have them to do unto you, more love than evil in the world. And if we don't get to that point where there's more love than evil in the world, then civilization starts over. Noah's Ark is a great example of that. And maybe, life won't start over in as drastic as that, but I think that there is a reset button. I think that, man's, we get human nature, guys, human nature. I don't want to go off into that because they're going to take me back to another podcast show when I talk about energy. You got the yin and the yang, you got the good and the bad, you got good intentions versus bad intentions. Now I don't like to say bad, but you do good and evil exist in all of us. It all depends on how you choose to move about in this life. And in civilization as a whole, we have got to get to the point that we are operating more so in love than not. That's all I'm saying. Nothing new is under the sun because we ain't got to that point that we're exercising in more light than darkness. We ain't got to that point. So yeah, some of these things, artifacts, material things, you're going to see over and over again. But all right, that's another podcast show. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go off onto the deep end on a tangent on that. But I want to get to another question before I wrap up the show tonight. I don't know. And what is going to influence the enhance our career today? How do you believe? Okay, let's see what this is. And before I answer this question, I did want to ask you guys, if you don't mind answering, why is it that it is so hard for us to take the advice and experience from people who have done it before us? No matter if it comes to parenting, relationships, jobs, people in general. Why is it so difficult for us to take their advice and take some shortcuts in our lives, avoid some pain, some suffering? Why is it so hard for us to do that? I know me, my personality type. I'm very strong-minded, very independent. I hear you, but I want to experience it for myself. I know who Deborah is. So I'm going to be the first to answer that question. I ain't going to believe it until I done tried that thing myself. That is my personality. But at a fundamental level, why do people just choose to just ignore advice? Can somebody tell me? All right. I'm waiting for your comments. I will go ahead and read question number 5. How do you believe the concept of nothing new under the sun affects societal progress and innovation? Well, I think it's just like I said, if you have that frame of mind that, we're here to evolve in light more so than darkness. And if, civilization has to be reset, you have to hit the reset button and start all over again. Then I think at a fundamental level, all these things that you may see before you now, those things are going to be rebirthed just as civilization is rebirthed. From a spiritual, that's my spiritual answer. That's my spiritual answer. Um, Nothing new. I mean, and as I was saying, I believe in there's this big consciousness, super consciousness. You can call, I relate to the creator source, this just big, great super consciousness. And where all our experiences, are all part of this super consciousness. And that when you get these to you, it's a new idea, it's a new thought. But I think it's a download. It's just a download from that great big super consciousness. Yeah, that's what I think. That's why I say, nothing new under the sun. And I don't think it stifles creativity or innovation, because, like I said, to us is new. I didn't live back in the, I don't know, 1800s, 1700s. So I can't tell you if a cell phone existed back then. And nobody who lived back then lived now will be able to tell you. So yeah, I think things have, like the scripture said, there's nothing new under the sun. Absolutely not. So as I wrap up tonight, and as I'm going to take my own advice, you ain't doing nothing new. If you're, approaching a new journey in your life, if you're, whether it's you don't want to go back and get your degree, if you in a new relationship, you're a new parent, I don't know, whatever the case may be, whatever the new adventure may be, and if there's someone that you can reach out to who's done it before that can give you some tips, have an open mind, ask for help. It can give you some valuable insight. It can help you take some shortcuts that would have otherwise, maybe you may have been led down the wrong path. I don't know. You don't have to make a U-turn, in your life. So that's all I'm saying. Don't toot your own horn too quick. Ain't nothing new on the sun. You ain't doing nothing new. Can you do it better? Absolutely. Can you customize it? Absolutely, you can. And so with that being said, I'm going to see if somebody answer my question. Are we just hard-headed? Are we just hard-headed? Let's see here. Into the Deep End podcast said, I call so-called bad situations learning from. You're absolutely right. We're here to learn. We are. And nothing teaches us better than experience. That's what they say. Nothing teaches us better than experience. Also, into the said, to answer your first question, I don't understand how people cannot listen to older and wiser individuals. Absolutely. But you know what I think? I think when we're younger and so full of youth, the world is our oyster. We just want to try some things. Especially when you get out your parents' house, you just want to try some things that they restrain you from doing. All those boundaries that I talked about when it comes to parenting. And so I think that's what it is. The lust to just try some things, try it out for yourself. But into the Deep End podcast, as we get older, as we may have bruised our knee, fallen a couple of times, had the wind knocked out of us a couple of times. I think that's when we get older, we tend to want to listen more and take advice more. So that's what I'm gonna say. Look, Lisa said, not Muhammad, girl. Yes, ma'am. Muhammad Ali was the first one that came to mind, baby, because you ain't finna take me out. We're gonna get back in there. So yeah. So where's your energy? You gonna have to explain that one to me, Lisa. Where's your energy? Now, are you referring to when I was talking about when you're meeting people, your vibrational energy, you attract the people that meet your energy? I don't know. You have to tell me a little bit more about that question, Lisa. All right. We are. I want to give Lisa a little time to comment back. Give me a little bit more detail on where's your energy. And in the meantime, if you guys can look at the scrolling ticker up above, it gives our lineup. Miss Belma will be back with us. She's been busy. She's been away for a bit, working on her ladies brunch that's coming up this month. And she has a wonderful topic and a guest that's going to be joining her as well tomorrow. So please be sure to come back to the ladies podcast show tomorrow. Felice will be here on Tuesday once again, telling us like it is, talking about, as she likes to say, anything and nothing. Lisa and myself will be back here on Wednesday, and I will be back the next Sunday. So yeah, 49 this year, and I've hit the wall. Look, I'm telling you, I'll be 49 next month. I'm with you, and I hit some walls too, and I'm trying to avoid them local jokers, because as they say, the older you get, the less you don't heal as quickly. So yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, so we're gonna call it a wrap. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight. Just conversations with Deborah. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for joining our growing, loving community. You guys have a blessed night.